the Cowboys better take the Niners seriously. America, nothing better than the game we're going to see on Sunday. It might be the biggest game of the season in the NFC. Cowboys, Niners, it's the trilogy. Shady, what is at stake? Cowboys, Niners.
I like that trilogy, though. I do like that, right? You know I love Rocky. He had a lot of those. I'm going with respect. Respect's on the line. I think matchups on the line. I think the power rankings on the line.
Yeah.
I mean, when we look at both of these teams, it's so many different matchups. Yeah. I love matchups. That's one thing that Andy Reid's taught me. We always want to expose the different matchups.
Yes, sir.
And you look at this game with the Niners and the Cowboys, let's just talk about it for a second, right? I mean, two good coaches, right? You talk about on both sides, two head coaches. Quarterbacks, Brock Purdy or is it Dak Prescott? Defense player of the year. Is it Micah Parsons
or is it
Bosa? Where we going with this? So it's so many different layers that we can talk about the Cowboys' offensive line compared to the Niners' offensive line.
Yep.
So many different layers. I love this game. I do think that the better quarterback will win the game, and he's not in Dallas. He's in San Francisco.
Yes, sir.
Right? And you look at the wide receiver matchups, right? CeeDee Lamb, who was an all-pro last year, is hard to do.
Hard to do.
And then you talk about Deebo Samuel, right? Or is it Brandon Ayuk? It's so many different layers. Brandon Cooks. There's so many matchups. I can't wait because I know this. Whatever team wins this game, they're in second place of NFC. They're not number one. So that's why my biggest takeaway, whoever the Birds got to see in the NFC Championship game.
2-5, let me grab the baton from you. Incredibly wonderfully said. And actually, you got me even more geeked for this game because I wasn't thinking about it like you just mentioned it. Matchups. Who has a better receiving core? Who has a better running back room? I know Tony Pollard in there like, wait a second now, I've been balling myself.
I forgot about him.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, he's
Who's
nice.
the better quarterback? Who has a better coach? Who has the better coaching staff? Dan Quinn's like, hey, I'm a great DC. Steve Wilkes like, look at how my defense looking. So many matchups, but I actually think what is at stake? Who's the best team in the NFC? I don't want to disrespect the Philadelphia Eagles,
but you are.
If the 49ers win this ball game and they are undefeated and you look at who they have beat, you have to say, look, the 49ers at this junction in time would be the best team in the NFC.
No doubt.
If you're the Dallas Cowboys and you're like, wait a second, we set records against the Giants. We set records against the Patriots. We beat the 49ers, the second best team currently in the NFC, because the Eagles are obviously the best team in the NFC at this junction in time. The Cowboys will say that loss to the Cardinals was a blemish. We're 4-1 with the win over the second best team in the NFC. Maybe the second best team in the NFL. What is at stake for me? Who's the best team in the NFC? No fault of the Eagles' own. They haven't been able to play a team like the Niners, and they will, I believe, in November, if I am not mistaken, week 13. But, Joy, to me, that is what is at stake. What's at stake for you?
By the way, Fred Warner going to get a mention.
Fred Warner going to slide. He going to slide under the radar up in there. Hey, he said it nice and smooth, too.
We're talking about the Colts. Remember Fred Warner plays for the Niners. He's going to get in this show somehow. This is going to be really... I can't wait for this game.
Yes,
Ooh, I can't wait for this game. I can't wait for this game. Because no matter what happens after this game, we're going to have a lot to talk about.
I'll love it.
I really think there's a lot of pressure on both sides of the ball, though, because the Cowboys obviously feel like this their year. They do every year. But this their year, again, they feel good. They feel like Arizona was a fluke, that they're really their true selves is all the other dominance that they've had so far throughout the season. And the Niners are kind of quietly undefeated. We haven't really talked about the Niners very much, unless outside of the Fred Warner mention that we get every day. We really haven't talked about them. We've talked about the Eagles, and are they struggling? They're 4-0, but do they look as good as they can look? And there's the Niners too, undefeated, but we really haven't put a lot of shine on them. They're going to get it on Sunday night.
Yes, they are.
If they beat the Cowboys, and maybe the Niners prefer to be a little bit in the shadows. Maybe that's where they prefer to be. But it's going to come out if you beat the Cowboys, because the Cowboys are preparing to be loud if they beat the Niners. There's so much at stake here. There's rankings. There's some people will feel they're in the command of the NFC. I'm with Shady. I still think you have to take down the big dog in Philadelphia, and until you do that, you're fighting for second. But that's still nice. Second is still nice.
Second ain't bad.
Second ain't bad. Second means you'll be in the NFC Championship game with an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. But this is really going to be, this is the biggest matchup that we've seen in the NFC so far this year. And it's really going to turn the tide on the conversation around both these teams, whatever way it goes.
Ooh, that's a good way to say it.
Oh, man, this good. This good. This good. And the show going to be good on Monday, too, after this one, too, right here on Sunday. But for me, what's at stake is, number one, redemption for Dak, right? And the reason why I say that is, I used to get beat up by the 49ers, too. Right? The Niners kicked me and the Packers out of the playoffs twice.
I watched that.
They beat us in the regular season. I appreciate you, Shady. They beat us in the regular season a couple times, right? They just had our number. And every time we stepped on the field, it's like, we got to get these dudes back, man. We got to get some redemption on these dudes, right? But what snuck in was the mindset, right? The mental, right? When it got a little ugly, we like, oh, here it go again. These boys finna get us again. So for me, they've kicked you out of the playoffs the last 2 years, right? It's going to sneak up mentally if they beat you again 3 times. And you got to see them in the playoffs. It's can we get over the hump with this football team? So as for a mindset for the Dallas Cowboys, this the one. This the one that was circled for Coach Mike. This the one that was circled for Dak Prescott. This the one that was circled for Micah Parsons. They ended our season the last 2 years.
Yes, sir.
Not just last year. I know we go last year because Dak threw that pick. But the last 2 years, they have sent us home. Season over. Get ready for training camp. Get ready for IPW. So for me, this game right here is redemption for Dak, but it's a mindset and mental for the whole team. Can we beat the 49ers? Can we get over the hump for the 49ers? Because when this game does happen, eventually they possibly going to have to see him again in the playoffs. So mentally, can you get this thing done? And it sneaks up.
See, the thing is, like, let's just get to the bottom line here.
Go ahead.
Let's get to the nitty-gritty of this thing. See, it's going to come down to Brock Purdy, but, man, it's going to come down to Dak Prescott.
Come on, Dak.
Right? And this is the thing about this game is there's going to be some good defense on both sides, right? Right? Hopefully it won't be turnovers. We can't promise that on the white and blue side. That's what he does. But this is the thing, though. I'm being serious here. It's going to come down to Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott. It's because of Dak Prescott has been playing so bad against the Niners. Now, think about this. Last year in the playoffs, they went up to Tampa Bay, whooped on them boys. He was so confident. Bang, 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 bang. But then when you look at that Niners defense, it's like it was a whole other game. Like, it's them again. And that's going to play again this game.
100%.
If things, now I will say this, if things happen good for Dak Prescott and it's positive early in the game, I think he'll have a good game. If things get tight and the defense is playing well on both sides and it's field goal type of game, that's when you'll see the real Dak Prescott. He starts to press. When he starts to press, he starts to give turnovers. And when he does that, when he starts turning that ball over, they lose games. We've seen it all last year. All last year we've seen it. And we've seen it one game this year. I think we'll see it again.
And that's why Mike is going to be huge in this game. Because I know you don't like the way the Cowboys been looking, but Mike been saying, the way I'm calling the game, you ain't going to be able to press on, boy. You're going to have to take care of this football.
Ain't that crazy?
And you might not like it, and you might call it, a manage the game quarterback, but Coach Mike like, listen, I'm calling the plays. Let our defense take the field, because out of these 3 out of 4 games, our defense has let us know that we are like that. So, Dak, ain't no need to press, bro. Play your game. Take care of the rock.
Let me speak to the mentality that James Jones is talking about.
I'm trying to tell you.
Because for me, I think what is most at stake that nobody's talking enough about is who has the psychological advantage.
Okay.
Shady, I'm going to take you back for a moment to 2014. 2014, we're playing with the Eagles. We started 9-3. We were good on paper. 9-3, you Gucci. You go into the playoffs. Got a few games left, just win them. But I knew, in my heart of hearts, we weren't that good in reality. We were 9-3. So on paper, I knew we was Gucci. But I knew, Joy, I'm like, we really not that good. Because I know who we've beaten, and I know who we haven't beaten. And there was a legion of boom at the time that I knew was real nice.
Yeah, they got at us, too.
We ended up playing the Dallas Cowboys. We lost to them after beating them in Dallas on Thanksgiving Day. But then we had to play the Legion of Boom. It was a must-win game. Gotta have it. Before the game, I'm doing my little warm-ups, walking around the field. Cam Chancellor's jogging with the gold cleats on. He has headphones on. He walks up to me, takes his headphones off. He says, "Hey, Acho, tell Macklin don't come across the middle." I was like, what do I do?
They deliver a message to me?
No message to you. No message to you.
Hey, you don't tell him, because you don't mess with his mental.
But here's my thing. Joy, I'm torn. I'm torn, America. I don't know what to do.
That's with his mental.
If I don't tell him, and he goes across the middle, and Cam hits him with that bam, bam, I'm at fault.
He got to go anyway.
Because Cam told me, tell Macklin, don't go across the middle, period. I didn't deliver the message.
Good, good. I appreciate it.
I didn't deliver the message.
What you say there when he told you? What'd you say? Like, okay, gotcha.
I had Cam Chancellor, my dog, you know what I mean? Dab it up and just kept it pushing.
Yes, sir.
But what am I supposed to do? I didn't tell him.
Right.
Lo and behold, we lose that game. We go 10-6. We miss the playoffs. That Eagles Seahawks game was a game because the Seahawks ended up going to the Super Bowl. Obviously, I believe that was the year they lose to the Patriots. But the Seahawks were the litmus test. Second best team in football. If we would have beat them, I would have been like, oh, we're like that. But because we didn't, I was like, yeah, we were 9-3, but I know we weren't all that.
Why didn't you hit him with tell him so-and-so don't come across the middle?
Tell
who don't come across the middle? Tell your boy not to come.
That's right.
Tell him we snapping out here, too. Don't come across this middle, man.
Tell Percy Harvin don't come across the middle.
So I I say that to say, within the Cowboys locker room, they know they beat Daniel Jones. Congrats.
Yeah.
They know they beat Zach Wilson. Congrats. They know they beat Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Congrats. But they haven't seen Debo. They haven't seen McCaffrey. They haven't seen Kittle. They haven't seen Ayuk. They haven't seen Trent Williams. They haven't seen Fred. They haven't seen Bosa. They haven't seen Hufanga. They haven't seen any of them dogs. I think, Joy, this is a big psychological game of how good are we.
What's wrong with
I
her?
got one name now.
You're one namer.
We talking about Fred Warner. By the way, if someone gives you a message like that from me, feel free to let them know. I said, don't tell Joy. Well, just so you know, Joy said, don't do whatever you told her to do.
100%.
You could just run that right back.
Tell it yourself.
Should I have passed that message along?
No.
No.
As a, you don't want to get, you don't want to get into the receiver head, you know.
Hey, you tell me. I'll take
But that's different.
You can run it back to them and then you let me know.
But that's
and then
different.
I'll
You
let
running
them
back.
know.
You able to see everything coming at you.
I hear you, but
You tell me.
you tell me. I hear you, but the Cowboys have seen these boys before, like twice, and twice they said off to Cabo.
That's why. That's why it's
Cabo, you
mental.
go. Start planning that trip. Start planning your off-season training. Where are you gonna go? You gonna go to LA? You can stay in Dallas. Maybe go down to Fort Lauderdale. People train there too. You know, just take it anywhere around the country you want to go. But you're not gonna be in the postseason anymore, so you can start your rehab. This is a mentality game, and I'm with you on Dak because really, and McCarthy as well. I think there's a lot of pressure on Mike McCarthy as well because really both of those endings to both of those playoff games were not the defense's fault. One of them really could have been blamed on Dak, and one of them could have been blamed on poor time management and the play call. So there's this game really is really going to set the stage for the rest of the season. We're going to call back to how things went in this game when we do power rankings, when we talk about who's positioned where, when we talk about what matchups are going to look like in the postseason. This is as close to a postseason game that you're going to get at this point in the NFL season. I can't wait for it.
Trilogies in sports.
Can't wait
They're
to
going
see
to see each other again. The Niners have beaten these boys the last 2 times in the playoffs. You got to get that monkey off your back, and you got to get that confidence that you could beat this team because it's going to happen in the playoffs.
And Brock Purdy, they beat, like last year, Brock Purdy beat these boys as a true baby.
Yeah.
He grown now. I got some games on my belt. What's up? Bring them boys on. Hey, real quick.
Yes, sir.
You want to take a little bet? Because you hype on the Cowboys.
100%.
You will? Let's let the world know.
Let the world know.
What you want?
Darnell, you locked in?
Set your price or
Dinner.
dinner, whatever. Dinner.
Any-
My choice?
Yep.
Can I bring the homies? Can I bring a date?
Absolutely. Bring
Deal.
the day, bring the
Homies
homies.
and a day.
Homies and a day.
Oh, he got good money.
Yep.
So
Deal.
what's the max capacity of people he can bring?
You can't bring no more than 5.
Bet.
That's
You gotta
know
sign
we in
Sign
Los
it.
Angeles,
Yeah,
right?
5 people, whatever restaurant saying for me, it's a bet. I can bring
Big
5.
ballin'.
Going down.
Boys.
Am I in your 5 though? Because like you know, I mean,
you
the way
enjoy
my meals
5.
is set up.
Oh,
okay, bet.
you
homies.
enjoy my 5. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, homies.
And dates.
Been out
Day.
been out to
I'm
eat
back.
today recently.
Sign this, James Jones.
Hold on, we're not going to break just yet. Hold on.
Come on,
You
Jack.
Hold
Hold
on.
on. Sign his joint. Sign
Hey,
his
you
joint.
get a lawyer? You
Make
got
sure
it.
you sign it next to me, too,
I
so we
definitely
know.
will.
Sign his joint.
$100 bill. if you need me
Homies
to.
and a date.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.